We all carry an invisible weight, a portfolio of expectations from our parents, from our careers, from the perfectly curated lives we scroll past on a screen. We spend so much of our adult lives trying to prove that this collection of titles, achievements, and relationships is enough, that it makes us worthy. But what happens when the ground beneath all those structures gives way? When the validation you've built your life upon collapses into nothing but dust? The question we avoid asking ourselves in the quiet moments is, if every external marker of success, the job title, the perfect relationship, the visible achievement was stripped away, what would be left? What defines us when all the scaffolding comes down? Imagine a plain drenched by rain and blood, not the clean, cleansing rain of life, but the heavy metallic wash that washes away both gore and illusion. Here, on the fields near Sekigahara in 1600, two men named Takezo and Matahaki lay among thousands of fallen bodies. They were not heroes, they were simply survivors, struggling to lift their heads from the sodden earth. The world had gone utterly mad around them. They had been told, or rather they had believed, that destiny was a straight line: struggle, achieve status, prove yourself. Takezo remembered his father's quiet expectations, the desperate need to be seen as something more than just a village boy. He wanted the roar of battle, the decisive moment that would finally grant him the title he craved. But when the dust settled, they were not generals. They were merely common foot soldiers, carrying rice kettles and cutting grass. The gap between expectation and reality is a chasm we all know too well. We chase status because it feels like safety. We build our identity on external metrics, the promotion, the perfect grade, the engagement ring, but these things are brittle. They crumble when the real pressure hits, leaving us feeling less than, like dead leaves floating in an autumn breeze. The modern equivalent of that battlefield is the endless scroll. We compare our messy, complicated reality to the polished highlights reel of others. We feel inadequate because we measure our internal worth against a curated external standard. This social comparison isn't just vanity, it's a deep existential threat to self-acceptance. Takezo and Matahaki were taught that their value was tied to their potential, to the grand, decisive moment. But fate had other plans. They found themselves in a limbo of survival, forced into a quietude they could not comprehend. Their strength wasn't in drawing a sword, it was in enduring the silence, the hunger, and the sheer exhaustion of simply being. The deepest lesson here is that true worth is never transactional. It cannot be earned by defeating an enemy general or acquiring a prestigious title. It must be something internal, something resilient enough to withstand total collapse. This shift in perspective requires us to redefine power. Power isn't the ability to conquer, it's the capacity to endure while remaining humble. It is the quiet resourcefulness of those who clean wounds with cheap spirits and forage for chestnuts when their stomachs ache. It is the profound, unspoken trust between two people who have seen each other at their absolute worst. The mystery arrived later, a young girl in the field of death, carrying nothing but a small bell. She appeared untouched by the carnage, radiating a calm that defied the surrounding chaos. She was an unexplained truth, a signpost pointing away from the noise and back toward the quiet center. Her presence suggested that the answers to our deepest questions are rarely found on the main road. They are often whispered in the periphery. We must learn to value the common hands, the overlooked skills, the simple acts of care, the person who quietly tends the wounds while others fight for glory. These low-profile efforts are not failures of ambition. They are the foundation of sustainable existence. To find your true architecture of worth, you must first accept that nothing outside of you can guarantee your value. It is a radical act of self-acceptance to declare, "I am enough, even when I'm just surviving."